All right, folks, welcome to the Hacked Off Podcast. This is episode 7, and I'm your host, C.S. Joseph, and joined here,
Yuri Skarzhinski.
Yuri Skarzhinski, the man, the myth, the legend. It's actually quite legendary. Big legacy, this guy. Got a lot of big shoes to fill.
Forgot the kahuna.
The kahuna, yes. The kahuna of the Ego Hackers Discord server. If you want to get on the Ego Hackers Discord server, it is discord.gg/egohackers. And today is our Father's Day edition episode where we are going to be saying, hey, thanks for being dads out there, even though it's a thankless job. We all know it. And no one really gives a shit about Father's Day. Not really. And, I hope all you gentlemen did your obligatory calls to your fathers. Sadly, I didn't do mine, which is sad, but can't do that. Probably not till next year. And then I probably would after that. Who knows? Who knows if he'll even take the call? I have no idea. But it is what it is. And then also, this is a YouTube channel as well as a podcast, but like and subscribe. It helps. It helps a lot. And also leave comments. We like comments, especially since if we like your comments enough, or are triggered by your comments enough, we'll give you shout outs on the show every single time. And then also, if you want to get in contact with Yuri and I, all of our socials, all of our everything's is on our Linktree links. So this is Linktree/hackedoffpodcast and Linktree. Which one's yours again? Yuri Skarzhinski?
Yeah.
That's it? Yeah, just Linktree /
So
yeah, it's in the description.
Click right on it.
Click it, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it. Also, we have a school that we do talking about psychology that is behind a lot of this content, and that's at school.com/CSJoseph, and that's SKOOL, because they spell school differently. And then we're going to be launching a new school that is specific to the Hacked Off audience. It's going to be very male-centric, but women can join too if they would like. That's going to be coming out very soon. And also, 2 more items here as our basic intro that we normally do. We're going to be announcing the great unconscious developed migration. So any of you people who are based, as in unconscious developed men, and you want to potentially upgrade or change your life, we're going to be inviting some of you as we get to know you on our Discord server and on our school communities. We're going to give you the opportunity to be invited to join us up here in northern Idaho, where we currently reside, and join our unconscious developed movement and our unconscious developed friend group, which continues to grow practically week by week. We even had a great event last night. We're all dressed in suits, smoking cigars, enjoying various types of tobacco and pipes and whatnot, and just sitting right here at the marina, which has been a really fantastic opportunity and a fantastic location. They've been very good to us out here, and we like to support them with our patronage, naturally. Also, one final thing. This show, we're going to be adding a new cultural name to the members of our Hacked Off podcast audience, and we're going to be discussing that towards the end of the show. But be that as it may, sir, go ahead and kick us off with the comments.
Okay, this one's from the last video. KROP5HQ says, looks do matter, but mostly for young girls. Only bonus points, but not the main thing.
That's all he said?
Yeah.
Only for young girls.
We didn't say looks don't matter.
Looks don't matter.
We never said that.
Yeah, we never said that.
And criticizing Looksmaxing
let me tell you,
looks don't matter.
Let me tell you how much looks matter. Back when I was a degenerate, I ended up in a sexual relationship with a Chinese woman who was like 17 years older than me, and and she was super fine, super gorgeous woman, unbelievable. And let me tell you something. It does not matter what age you are as a woman. Looks definitely matter as a woman, because the real like this is just so fucked up. Like, wasn't it you telling me about how like women are the actual real looksmaxers, and then men are like taking that female trait and like being
Yes.
the looksmaxer? Like, oh my god,
They're female maxing.
female
Looks
maxing.
yeah.
Yeah. It is just like it's
Well, looks
it's
matter for men too,
literally
but it's more about
disgusting.
just not being a schlub.
Yeah, just don't be a schlub.
Like if you're fat as shit, don't take care of yourself, you look gross, then that says more about your character than just
Yeah.
your looks.
Yeah, like
You
I
don't need to
mean,
be curling your eyelashes and putting on makeup and wearing padded muscle shirts and height boosters.
padded muscles.
Like you can criticize that and still believe that looks do matter in some sense. Yeah. But like these people think if we criticize looks maxing, that means we're against like looking good at all.
I didn't even know
Which
those.
we never said that.
No, we never said
If
that.
you got that, then you're dumb.
Or
That was your takeaway.
yeah, let's just twist our words here and be retarded. I guess I guess that's what we need to do. But yeah, I mean, I was talking about like on X. I showed you that post about like the padded shirt, and I just literally could not believe what I was seeing. And I showed you that post. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And it's like, how can women even respect that? And like the woman in that comment, she's like, yeah, I'd rather fuck a fat dude than be with a guy that's wearing the fucking padded shirt. Like you looksmaxers, guess what? You're all a bunch of losers. I mean, unless you're a woman, then thank God for you.
Yeah,
Thank
your
you.
looks is what you should be maxing if
You
you're a
should
woman.
absolutely be maxing
for
looks
sure.
as a woman, because then at least we don't have to walk around in public seeing like all these American fat bitches like everywhere we go.
With tattoos.
With tattoos, like it's yeah, exactly. It's so disgusting. By the way, if you're like a woman and you're gonna get a tattoo, like do it right. Get
or don't, or just don't.
get Jaguar at least, and then that way it's not permanent. It'll go away after a month, and then you'll realize after you've done it that it's probably a bad idea. Don't mess up the sacred temple of your body. Like that's just don't do that.
You don't put a bumper sticker on a Lamborghini.
Don't put a bumper sticker in Lamborghini.
But you have to be a Lamborghini first.
Do you remember that Disney film Cars? And then like the main character played by Owen Wilson, Lightning McQueen, is commenting on Sally, the Porsche, who's got her little hotel, or her motel, I guess. And he's like, oh, nice pinstripes over there. He's telling her, and it's her fucking tramp stamp. And I'm like, why the fuck did you put that in a kid's movie? Like what the hell? And don't get me wrong, I'm a guy who likes tramp stamps. I love that. As long as I'm the one that designs them, and I'm the one that has my woman wear them for me. And she didn't have anything on there before. That's how it should be. And that's just my personal opinion about tattoos. But in general, tattoos on women are degenerate. Like, don't do it. Like, just don't fucking do it. It's stupid.
I don't mind them doing it because it's like my favorite red flag. It's like,
Oh, that's your favorite red flag?
It is because it's so obvious. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I can just disregard your existence entirely now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, thank you for
Thank you for being
broadcasting
permanently marked
the most
in
obvious red
advertising.
flag to the world.
The most obvious, yeah, exactly. You know what? Like, women are supposed to be more coquettish, way more hidden, way more like reserved about that sort of stuff. And it's like, and it's so funny because like the tattooed chicks out there, most of the fucking subconscious developed losers would be like, oh my God, she's probably really good in bed because she's got so many good tats or whatever. She's obviously a nymphomaniac. When you look at the quiet girls who don't have any tats, and like those are the true nymphos. Like seriously, those are the true nymphos. There's some guy that like posted about how he was boasting about having fucked like 750 women. And the number one thing, and he created like a list of like 50 things that he learned from having sex with so many women. And the number one thing in his list, he said, is that the quiet girls are the best in bed. And it's like, yeah, it's true. The true nymphos are the quiet girls. The implosive women, the unconscious developed women, those are the true nymphos. Whereas like even in my own personal experience, the subconscious developed women are just absolutely horrendously bad in bed because they're just so all about like cultivating attention, and they expect their subconscious developed men to be bottoms while they're on the top. And it's just like, and what's also like really frustrating is that they oftentimes come off as if they can't even orgasm unless they're on top. And it's just like, wow, okay, so your clit is just basically just like some little dick that you use, and then you're just getting off on that, and it's just disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. And it's like, wow, are you like actually incapable of like orgasming with a man inside of you? Oh, that's right, because your subconscious developed as a woman. Oh, that's right. That basically means you're incapable of relaxing in a sexual interlude. Okay, so as a result of that, because guess what, folks, the key to making a woman orgasm, there's no such thing as a man making a woman orgasm. It depends on whether or not she actually is able to relax and feel safe and feel comfortable. It's all about relaxation, and relaxation itself is the source of orgasm. You fucking subconscious developed morons have no clue about anything relating to sexuality. You all just, and like I have those guys sometimes telling me like, oh, how do I aim it, bro? Like, and I'm just like, no, dude, no, it's relaxation. It's all about relaxation and you not having nice guy syndrome, also known as the stink of death. By the way, like read No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover, dudes. Like, do yourselves a favor, because that book, if you do what that book fucking tells you to do, you would have cured your stink of death and you don't have this fucking problem anymore.
And then watch the interview you did on your channel.
Oh yeah. On the C.S. Joseph YouTube channel, I interviewed Dr. Robert Glover twice for both of his books, okay? Check that out. Like, just search Dr. Robert Glover or Robert Glover on the C.S. Joseph YouTube channel. Watch those. And seriously, read all of his books, because this man went from, being SD and then took a long time in his life and he made it to UD. God bless that man. Still living and kicking ass in Puerto Vallarta. Love that dude. What you got next?
Andre AG 4477 says, why are heels considered bad for making yourself appear taller, but makeup is acceptable? I think you responded to that one already. Makeup is not acceptable. UDJ men don't give a shit about it. Makeup is only an obligation.
Yeah. So let me give you some like background on that. So like makeup as an obligation is like, so like if a woman should be looksmaxing, right? But makeup is not looksmaxing. Low body fat, that's looksmaxing. Or not having hip dips, that's looksmaxing. Okay, if you have hip dips like as a woman, gross. Go fix that. Most people think, oh, I need to work on my glutes, do my glute bridges, do my hip thrusts at the gym. No. It's about look up these Asian stretch routines that they do. And that is how they get rid of hip dips. Like, figure that out, okay? But you think makeup is going to cover up the fact that you have hip dips? I don't think so. Do you honestly think that you're going to have like a... You think makeup's going to cover up all those tattoos? You think makeup's going to cover up your excess body fat? Like, you American girls like need to get your shit together, because like women all around the world are like making you all look terrible. Like, you can't even compete with a foreign woman. I don't think, like, in general, I just don't think American women can compete with foreign women. That's why passport bros exist. It's just like, come the fuck on. Like why are they even doing this? What were you saying about heels though? You had like a comment about that, like specifically relating to heels?
Well, men shouldn't be wearing high heels with the shoe lifts, like, ever.
Oh yeah.
And then women wearing high heels, that's not good either.
Yeah.
Like, just be your actual height.
Yeah.
And it changes their posture. It's not healthy for your feet. The whole point of looking good is being healthy. How is it healthy to mess up your posture, mess up your feet?
Health is the best wealth. Health is everything.
These women that wear makeup too, it destroys their skin.
It destroys their health.
And then it's like a downward spiral where they have to put on more makeup to cover up their destroyed skin from wearing the makeup for so long.
Yeah. When they'd be better off like importing Korean skincare and working on skincare instead of like makeup. Like a girl wears foundation, like I'm instantly just like, stay the fuck away from me. It's just gross. It's like actually gross. Now, when I say makeup's like an obligation, yeah, makeup can be an obligation, because like what if you end up going to like some super mega formal event, like a wedding or a funeral or something like that, then yeah, sure, know how to actually do makeup. Ladies, know how to do it, but that should not be like your primary thing. Get rid of your hip dips, lower your body fat, and please, God Almighty, don't cut your hair and get your hair about as long down to your ass, and do it right. Because long hair is the #1 sign of health in a woman that tells a man, oh, wow, yeah, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, Yeah, I want to make babies with her. Yeah, you know, I mean, why does sexuality even exist? Why do we even have sex? Because the man is basically inspecting the body to determine whether or not the woman is good enough to have children and bear children for him.
And don't cheat with the hair extensions.
Oh, yeah, the hair extensions. Yeah, because, you know, obviously, you know, when I'm grabbing her hair, when I'm banging her from behind, that's going to be a big problem when they all rip out. Like, stop with that bullshit. Like if you're going to looks max, do it properly through health.
Health
None of
max,
this fake, yeah, health max. Like, none of this bullshit. Like, it's just disgusting. It's so disgusting. What's next?
Charlotte Frank says, if a woman is too well-traveled for a guy, it just shows that the guy hasn't traveled enough yet. Only weakos wish for women to be locked away just so men can boost their egos by showing them the world.
Okay, no. Well-traveled women, it has nothing to do with ego. It has everything to do with you ladies out there being ungrateful as fuck. And that's the problem. When other men have, like, broken you in and, like, showed you the world, you know, Aladdin style, a whole new world, which I honestly actually believe that song in Aladdin was actually not talking about that, but actually talking about not being virgins anymore. That's what I actually think that song is about.
Well, I guess we're weakos for when we buy a new pair of shoes, we don't want it to come out of the box with creases in it from somebody else.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
makes us weakos. We're
yeah,
just
it makes
insecure
us
that we don't
weakos.
want.
Yeah,
when
because
we buy brand new shoes, they're not as advertised, but we're the weakos.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, ladies, we don't want any mileage on women. Like, no mileage, okay? We like our cars to have, like, 0 miles on them, you know, when we buy them, you know what I'm saying? Buying them meaning, like, you know, oh, that's right, commitment, you know, because women control access to sexuality, and they really suck at controlling that nowadays.
Yeah. And it's not an ego boost for us to go traveling.
No, it's not.
If anything, you should be grateful for the experience.
Yeah, we're
but
going
clearly
traveling
you're not, since
because
she's
we like
devaluing it
Yeah.
in this comment.
Bro,
That's
like,
the whole point, is
yeah.
like this level of jadedness is actually especially disgusting coming from a younger woman, which she appears to be.
Yeah, dude, like, my favorite vacation that I ever took, and I went, like, I didn't have no woman with me. I went on my own, okay? I went to Sardinia, Italy. I went to Switzerland. I went to Germany. I enjoyed myself, okay? And I had amazing food. Like, even the fast food was so good. It was unbelievable. And I got to explore 12,000 BC ruins on the top of a mountain and Olbia in Sardinia. It's like that was excellent. Okay, I'm going traveling because I want to fucking go traveling. It has nothing to do with any of this other bullshit that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, and if you're invited along for the ride, that's not about ego. You should be grateful that you're there.
Yeah, like because here's what men get from women in relationships: gratitude, peace, obedience, and representation. And if you can't do all four, you're basically a shit woman and you're not wife material. And guess what? Men are not going to commit to you. Instead of putting you in commitment category, they're going to put you in sex only category. And oh, by the way, you're probably not going to end up on the trip with them anyway. Like where's the commitment there? You know? And I'm not advocating for men to put women in a sex-only category, because from my perspective, you have sex with a woman because you're committed to her, because you're married. That's my point of view on that, and a lot of people disagree with me on that, especially like the subconscious developed fucks of the world. I mean, the cucks. I'm sorry.
Well, it's really women putting themselves in that category.
Mm-hmm. They are. What's next?
That's it for comments.
Okay, cool.
So then we got X stuff, right?
Yeah. So, like, dude, what was up with that right-wing e-girl that she used to be on this podcast called The Backlash, and we got into it with her at like midnight on X, and had this, and she was even like deleting tweets from like our interaction with her. But what was that first thing that she said? She was talking about like how
some guy hung himself, or he killed himself.
Oh yeah.
Because his wife was cheating on him.
Yeah, it was Aubrey Plaza's husband. Yeah, and then he hung himself. And then what did she do? She blamed the victim.
She said he hanged himself, and there was no evidence that she was cheating. Also, he was Jewish, so who cares?
Yeah. And I just had to lay into her. I laid into Rebecca, also known as Blonde's tweets or whatever.
Yeah, you said, wait, am I to understand that you are approving of her behavior so that if it happens to you, other women will make excuses for you?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Because that's the motivation there.
This is one of the areas that I actually have to give props to Grandma Tomassi, because in his book, and I believe it's Preventive Medicine, or it was Positive Masculinity, book 1 or 2, or book 2 or 3, he talks about how like there's this guy that like lit himself on fire in front of like the White House or in front of like Congress or something, committing suicide.
Was it the Israeli embassy?
Or maybe
That might have been a different one.
That might have been a different one. But he's talking about how men are consistently committing suicide as a result of gynocentrism and this culture of open hypergamy. And like, yeah, he's right about that. Like, you know, a broken clock can be right twice a day. So, you know, but yeah, Rollo's actually right about that. And it's just like, wow, like, holy shit, you know. And then there's another one. There's a Cringe Panda.
Well, do you want to keep going with Rebecca?
Oh yeah, we can go ready. Yeah.
She goes, she didn't do anything wrong. He strung her along without kids for 13 years. And then they got separated and he offed himself. Then she got pregnant with a guy she dated after separation, but knew before separation. Like there's the monkey branch right there.
Yeah.
Let's leave that part out, Rebecca.
Yeah, she monkey branch. Like women have this thing, like they old monkey branch, where like, oh, you know, I lose interest in the man. They start looking for a man, and then they jump from one man to another man. They don't just cut it off like men do and then move on. They cannot handle, like a woman cannot handle being alone for any amount of time. Not really. So
she goes, her only mistake here was marrying some weird Jew and letting him run out her fertility clock. And I said, only a complete retard gets strung along for 13 years. Something tells me there's more to the story. And she says, she's clearly retarded. She married a Jewish guy. And you said, who gives a shit? She should honor her vows, same as you. Her response is, a marriage without children to a Jewish guy barely even counts. Come on. And you said, marriage vows outweigh race. Women should be held accountable for their choice of men. Whichever man gets her virginity, it should be a done deal, and women should be prepared to make that choice and commit to it. Otherwise, they are degenerate hoes. She says, she probably was a degenerate hoe, and he was a huge pussy who checked out of life for no reason. And then you said, are you claiming that male suicide takes place for no reason? Are you insane? You are so delusional that you allow your entitled belief to the benefit that the disposable sex brings while shirking all of the... Oh, I missed the end of that there. Oh, I got it. All of the benefit that the disposable sex brings while shirking all of the responsibility. The disposable sex being men, obviously. Yeah. She says, suicide is a choice. He chose to do this. He was not getting divorce raped and losing his kids. It was a retarded choice that he made, just like her choice to marry a deranged Jewish director.
Like, what the fuck?
And I said, marriage is also a choice. She signed up for his program, got cold feet, and then abandoned ship after wasting 13 years of her own fertility.
Yeah, which another guy actually commented to support that Aubrey Plaza actually was not interested in having children in the conversation. And of course, Rebecca just decided to like completely ignore that point. It's so ridiculous. Like,
okay, we can move on to the other e-girl, right? By the way, shout out to the Jolly Heretic for his great video on why trad girl influencers are often such utter hoes.
Yeah, trad girls.
And in that video...
They're not even trad girls.
And he's literally talking about the one we were just talking about, because he was on a podcast with her on the Backlash.
Yeah.
He references her in the video.
Yeah. You can't even be a trad girl, by the way, without being unconscious developed psychologically as a woman. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know if you're actually unconscious developed, go to octogram.me. That's an actual website. Take the little personality test and find out what your octogram is. And if you actually want to learn about what that means, go to skool.com/CSJoseph, SKOOL, and take the first season 40 course in the classroom immediately. Like, there's like 54 episodes in there. Get educated, find out what it means, okay? And understand where you are and what you can do about it. Let's keep going.
Okay, Cringe Panda.
Cringe Panda.
Another e-girl. She's a Devon Stacks e-girl.
Devon Stacks, yeah, Devon Stacks.
Who pretends to be underage, but she's actually 26.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Which is really weird and creepy.
I could have hardly believed that. She's like pretending to be jailbait on X, even though she's actually 26 years old.
And she has her like little donation page set up, and it's claimed to be run by her parents, which I don't believe.
It's such
And
bullshit.
there's simps donating to that, of course.
She even claims she doesn't have Sims.
Well, I saw one saying, hey, I gave you money. And she's like, oh, thank you. That was like a couple of days after she claimed that she had no simps. So she's just lying about everything. Her age,
why is this
her
a
number,
thing?
how many simps she has or doesn't have. Everything's complete fabrication.
What's the
Everything's
difference
a lie.
between that and OnlyFans?
Nothing.
Like, yeah,
I guess plausible deniability is the only
plausible
difference,
deniability,
which
oh
we
my
see right
God.
through.
Yeah, like she thinks she can hide that. Maybe she can hide it because the subconscious developed men are fucking losers, and it's all about how things look and not how things are. But the UD men, the men of actual value, are like, lady, you're disgusting.
Yeah, if she's wearing a sundress and if she's taking banana bread out of the oven, then she's trad.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it looks like.
It's like that girl on Instagram called Tradwife Tori, who also has an OnlyFans, and I'm just like, what an embarrassment. Like, seriously, what an embarrassment.
So Cringe Panda, her comment was, not to mention, the Gen Z dating pool looks like this. And she posted a picture of a bunch of broccoli hair guys who are mixed race. And she goes, there are white Gen Zers out there. They're just too busy on the internet complaining about white women, so we end up single.
No, it's because you're a complete fucking hoe.
And I said, my response was, and yet you've just shown that you're the female equivalent of the very men you're complaining about.
Yeah,
Ratioed
like,
her, by the
actually.
way. She goes, nah, I never said all men are bad or that I hate men. Just pointing out that some of you guys are saying that about us. And I said, apparently enough men fit that description for you to rationalize you being a femcel. Another guy says, you are well on your way with this attitude and performance to be yet another Lauren Southern, Ashley St. Clair, Sydney Watson, etc.
Sarah Stock.
Sarah Stock, yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Rebecca Hargraves.
And then another guy comments, he goes, women are the ones eager for relationships. Us men are forced or focused on finances and physical improvement. Any girl I come across is a communist anyway, so... And then Cringe Panda responds, by the way, she's like a white nationalist content creator.
Yeah.
Her response to that guy, he's white by the way, is LMFAO, your bloodline ends with you. And my response was, how very pro-white of you.
Yeah.
To be relishing in the end of this guy's bloodline. I don't believe it's the end for him.
No, it's not the end. No.
It might be the end for her. And his response to her was just 100% bimbo.
Yeah, she is such
and then
a
ratioed
bimbo.
her as well.
Yeah. Stupid.
So then she turns out some like half-ass apology like 2 days later.
Really?
Or like retraction, not really apology.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No, I did not see that.
Oh, hold on.
That's funny. Hey, folks, while he's looking, like, get on X with us. Like, we're just gonna just point out, if a duck is a fucking duck, and the duck probably has to go take a duck break. But if a duck is a duck, we're gonna call out the fucking duck. Okay, so help us call out these hoes, help us call out these bimbos, but even more so, help us call out the fucking weak men simps that are like supporting these people.
So then her retraction or backtrack 2 days later. Okay, first I want to say I get it, all caps. A lot of women these days just suck, and it makes sense to correct them, but it's not just productive or healthy to stay online all day complaining about them, and it certainly isn't good to remove yourself from the dating pool just because of that percentage of women. But that's what she was saying she was doing. She was single because of all these guys.
No,
so
she's
that's
single
projection.
because she's 26. She's outside of her prime. She's in epiphany phase. Thank you, Red Pill Manosphere, for giving us this education. And like, no man worth his salt is going to commit to her because she knows that she's a lion-ass bitch who probably has an exorbitantly high body count. No, thank you. She's sex only categoried herself for like the rest of her life.
Except for Devon Stacks.
Except for Devon Stacks.
He'll come in and save the day.
Or the weak ass,
He'll save her
losers
bloodline
who will
and his own.
Yeah, like.
And
my God.
She says, I recognize that I could have been more encouraging about this, so I apologize if this seems like a personal attack. That was not my intention. If you've given up on dating, I encourage you to keep trying. I know it's harder for men, but I believe that with enough determination, you can find a good woman. Well, not you, obviously.
It's actually not harder for
men.
It's actually harder for women because they're all bimbos.
She's getting there, epiphany phase.
Oh, my God.
But I believe that with enough determination, you can find a good woman. There are lots of them. You just got to look. And then my response to that was, 2 days later, and you're only now realizing that your mask slipped.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm not wearing a mask. It's called being human. And then she blocked me.
And then she blocked you being human. And then I retweeted the being human thing. I had to have. And then I think I posted a response to that.
Oh, let me pull that up.
Yeah, pull that up. Oh my God. Like, who's that, while you're looking, like, who's that content creator that has that sweatshirt that says kill simps? Like,
that's Marquette Burton, also known as the Saint and the Sinner.
Saint and the Sinner. You talk about him a lot.
I post
really
a lot
need
of
to
his
pay
stuff on
attention
the
to
Male
shit.
Issues channel on Discord too.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We got to get him on the show. You know, we got to get that guy on the show. That'd be great. That'd be hilarious. The Saint and the Sinner. Check out his show, folks. Like, seriously.
All right, I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I post so much. It's kind of like I think it's under posts, not replies, because it's a retweet. And then Yuri here educated me on my bad X skills, because I need to get X maxed. You know, I had to do some X maxing, because he told me that if I retweet it, the person who started the thread won't actually see it, and I had to learn that the hard way. So then I'm like, oh, so that's why I'm commenting more instead of actually like retweeting. But what's really nice about retweeting is that they can't delete the post because it's on my feed. You know, at that point.
You can also screenshot it and then reply in the thread.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I should probably do that too. And then repost the screenshot. People are just deleting their posts all the time. But if you delete your posts on Twitter, you're a fucking pussy. Like, straight up. Just don't do that. It's just stupid. Like, it's on the internet. It's there permanently. So why don't you just be fucking honest about it? Like, straight up. Be honest about it.
Okay, I can't find that one yet, but you said to her in one of the replies, go back to your simp, and you tagged black-pilled Devon Stacks.
Yeah.
Since realistically he's your only option at this point. How you act is disgusting and making women in general look bad.
Yeah, she is hella looking. Like, that's one of the things that women got to understand about female space is that they need to make sure that they need to just shit on other, like hazing, like bullying. They need to bully other women who are making other women look bad. Like, seriously.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron for men. And
yeah.
then same for women. Women are supposed to be sharpening each other.
Yeah, women are supposed to be holding each other accountable. Women should not be associating with hoes, at all.
The only woman that men are supposed to hold accountable is their woman.
You know what's funny about that?
Or their daughter.
What's hilarious about that is that the quiet girls understand that concept, just naturally. They don't want to be around the other women that are making them look bad. And they do this all the time. And it's like, thank God. Like, thank God they do that. You know, it's like, oh, thank you. Because, like, the true trad wives out there, the true traditional women out there are already naturally behaving the way that they should because their fathers raised them well, because their fathers showered those girls with attention growing up. But then you have 80% of women out there who are, like, raised by single mothers or not having their fathers around due to, like, fatherlessness. And we're talking about this on Father's Day. And it's literally because, you know, they're not getting enough attention because they can't get attention because there's no one there to give them attention because their mothers cheated on or development phased or initiated divorce with their fathers anyway.
Well, the fat acceptance movement is evidence that women have abandoned their responsibility to hold each other accountable.
There's
no fat acceptance movement for men. It's all for women.
It's all for women. Yeah.
It's just enabling gluttonous, disgusting behavior.
Yeah, and as a man,
they get away with it because the SD men will put up with it.
Yeah, and as a man who's had a dad bod for like most of his life and consistently working on it, you know, and it's like there's hope, dude. It's like, look, I don't have a fucking six-pack. I don't, but I got multiple wives. So like, shut the fuck up. Like, come on. It's it's like, you people are fucking ridiculous. Like, these Looksmaxers, man. Like, what the fuck, dude? We don't have to find that specific post.
I found it.
Oh, you found it.
So, you said apparently being human, because you said, oh, I'm not wearing a mask, I'm just being human.
And blocked you.
Even though she's lying about her age.
She's lying about her age,
right, that's not a mask.
Yeah.
That's what I would have said if she didn't block me. But I guess she couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's women used to, like, lie about their age when they're, like, too young, but now they're lying about their age trying to make themselves look like jailbait or act like jailbait when they're, like, much older. Like, what happened? What happened to the world?
Well, she's using it as an excuse. Like, any guy that says anything to her that's, like, too far for her, she's like, oh, I'm underage, reported and blocked. She didn't say that to me because I didn't comment on anything sexual.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
But she blocked me anyway.
Yeah.
You said, apparently being human according to Cringe Panda means lying about your age on the internet for the sake of being a thirst trap in order for her simps to pay her bills. What is the difference between this and OnlyFans? Isn't there a label for this behavior? Right-wing e-whore?
Right-wing e-whore. Yeah, she's a right-wing e-whore. That's true. That's so true. And then there's Rollo Tomassi with his toxic masculinity post. Oh my
Yeah, let
God.
me find that.
Yeah, so there's this whole thing where like Rollo Tomassi's like making this claim.
I got it.
Oh, yeah, you got it?
He says, there is no toxic masculinity. There's only masculinity and aspects of it that align with or inconvenience women's imperatives.
False. That's complete bullshit. There is a such thing as toxic masculinity, and it's called subconscious developed men.
Well, that's what he said. There's no such thing as, there is a such thing as toxic masculinity. It's known as machismo. You know that thing that you teach in your books.
Yeah, because like spinning plates, according to the red pill, that is machismo. Because it's only the men who have machismo are the ones who even can actually pull off spinning plates anyway. So it's like, and these are the subconscious developed, unconscious focused men.
Well, Rollo, he recommends men get a vasectomy before they spin plates, because God forbid they have any children.
God forbid.
God forbid they live with any of the consequences of their actions. And then how is that any different? Like these red pill guys, they criticize women like, oh, well,
Yeah.
once birth control became a thing, then women became promiscuous. It's like, well, you
Yeah.
guys are doing the same thing with this vasectomy nonsense and then spinning plates.
Yeah, and honestly, like using condoms is also like degenerate. Like stop. Like no. Like you're literally violating the second commandment that God gave humanity, which is be fruitful and multiply. Okay, what are you guys doing? Like are you literally like trying to give God the creator the middle finger? Like really? Because, you know, and your middle finger is your wrapped dick. Like come on. Like what are you doing? Are you going to commit to the woman or not? Where's the fucking commitment? Okay? Like, or are you just going to use her because you're a fucking loser? You know, like, come on. Like, yeah,
And then rack up her body count.
Yeah.
And then all these men are doing it collectively. And
Yeah.
they complain that the women have high body
yeah,
counts.
to the point where, like, caveman is like, oh, you guys should just be congratulating me for, like, breaking in these women for you. And I'm like, dude, you're disgusting. Like, you're actually disgusting. Like, it's like, they need to bring back, like, public floggings, you know, seriously.
Bone smashing.
Oh,
Public bone smashing.
bone smashing. Yeah, at least they'll get their Looksmaxed, you know, while they're getting bone smashed.
Some Looksmaxer guy criticized me on Twitter, and he didn't even have a picture up. It's like, well, how are you a Looksmaxer? You won't even show your face or use your real name. You're just a complete coward.
Yeah, it's like complete.
Like,
coward.
how pathetic is that?
You know, like Devon Stack, or Albert. You know, the handler financier of Red Ice TV. That's great. Thank you, Albert. You know, for not showing your face, even though like it's so funny. He's supporting this white nationalist movement. You know, on Rumble or whatever. Yet at the same time, you know, people in the comments are commenting about how he's actually like secretly a black man, and it's just like, this is so weird. This is so weird.
Or a Jew.
Yeah, and it's obvious control opposition. Like the Red Ice TV, I'm telling you now, like that's before it comes out. Like you heard it here first. They're controlled opposition, and it's just like, it's just ridiculous.
Well, even if they aren't, they behave like that.
Oh yeah, they absolutely do with their little mob mentality.
I try to give
crap.
them benefit of the doubt, but at no point was that ever. Like, I just feel stupid for ever giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
Because they just prove time and time again that they're untrustworthy.
yeah, it's all fake. I mean, you know, it's what people like consistently say is fake and gay, and that's fake and gay, like straight up, for sure. And then Clavicular went to Paris. You told me this story.
Yeah, he went to Paris.
He went to Paris. Like what happened? Like the prince did something to him or what?
He was with this guy called the Prince of Paris, who's not actually a prince. He's
not actually a prince.
That's just what he calls himself.
Oh, okay.
And he's going around trying to like talk to women and use his status or looks.
Looks money status.
And it's not getting him anywhere in Paris. The women are like, why are you talking to me? And he even admitted like, oh, I don't have enough like life experience to have an actual conversation with any of these girls.
Oh wait, that's right. That's what creates UD men, because they have to pass the rite of passage. Oh wait, that's right. Life experience.
And he has to compete with all these European guys. They all speak 3 or 4 languages by default. In
Oh
Europe.
yeah.
And he goes up, he's only speaking English. He
How-
doesn't
how-
bother to learn any French. He goes, bonjour, like that's it.
How big do you think Clavicular's man cave is?
I don't know. I don't know. He's probably got the whole apartment because he has his simps too.
Oh my
Because people
God.
pay him to learn how to Looksmax. I think he has his own Skool community for that.
Oh, he Looksmaxing on Skool, huh?
Yeah, how
Wow.
to curl your eyelashes and wear eyeliner. And
Does he have a course on how to bone smash?
he has a video on how to take off your shoe lifts when you get home with a girl so that she doesn't notice you doing it. And he says he literally recommends this, like you tiptoe out of your shoes into the bedroom.
He's literally
from the front door.
He's literally teaching deception.
He's
to help people spin plates.
He's
Oh my God.
tiptoe-maxing, yeah.
Tiptoe-maxing. Like, how is it possible anyone could take this guy seriously? Like, wasn't there this post on like Twitter, like talking about, oh gosh, like how he was like crying or something, like actually crying in Paris because like everyone just thinks that he's just faking gay. Or
He got hype-mogged by the Prince of Paris, who was like 6'5".
hype-mogged. Yeah, hype-mogged.
He was getting all insecure because one guy is taller than him.
Dude,
there's always going to be someone better looking and taller than you. And
yeah,
if you crumble the moment that happens,
better.
then you're just a loser.
There's always someone better. Like, there's always a better man. That's just the reality of the situation. There's always something better. That's why you have to be committed to being better as a man, no matter what age you are. That's the male burden of performance. Okay?
Well, he has the female burden of performance, which is to put on makeup. Yeah.
Put on makeup. Yeah. Oh my God. Happy Father's Day, dudes. Like, happy Father's Day. Like, it's so disgusting. You know, and this like where did you told me something about the female expectation of professionalism. Like, where did that come from? Like,
that came from some feedback we got.
Oh yeah,
on one of our episodes.
Yeah, because
we were sitting in one of my chairs and the leather was peeling off.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't professional.
That's not professional.
We also used a certain word.
Oh yeah.
That is unacceptable.
The unacceptable C word that is actually a term of endearment in the UK and in Australia, but apparently like we can't use the C word on our show because it's unprofessional. Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. You know, being unprofessional, like, it's part of being authentic. But hey, you know, we as men, we have to be harmonious, like all these SD male cucks out there. We have to be harmonious and shirk our authenticity for the sake of professionalism, no matter wherever we go. And it's just like, why? Like why? Like, why do we do that? You know, no, we're not doing that. We're not gonna have anything to do with that. Because like men being pigeonholed or like peer pressured by culture, especially by subconscious developed women who are the attention whores and have the super high body counts, and they're not the trad wives, even though as much as they try to like claim that they're the trad wife, they're not. They're not the trad wife at all. They're just hoes, or they're the girl that you know, in their 20s got ran through by like 100 dudes, and then ended up going to church to try to find some beta male loser because they need to get married and claim that they got married, you know, in their 20s, which is why statistically women in the West, in Western society, are like married by the time they're age 29 or whatever. And it's just like, okay, great. So statistically women are getting married at 29 more so than any other age. And it's just like, wow, ladies, like really? You know, and only for them to like divorce their man at age 35 or age 36 anyway because they missed the more attractive Looksmaxer, you know, UD men that they previously had access to from age 20 to 25 and actually making their lives worse. And it's just like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, no. Like, no. So, like dudes, like, don't be pressured by women to be professional. The only time you need to be professional is if you're like at risk of like losing your job, you know, and like, and the women act this way because they're afraid of men like you and I teaching men how they should actually be acting and how they should actually be living their life and actually improving culture and producing more soldier ants instead of more worker ants within this culture. This, if you can even call it a culture of degeneracy, honestly, a culture of wickedness where everything's just so fucking twisted all the time. It's like, yeah, okay. And then we end up getting persecuted for actually like taking the stance because we're not professional. We're not professional enough. We're not supposed to be professional. We're supposed to be raw and real because that's what unconscious developed men actually do. That's what the soldier ants actually do. We're raw and real. And you always know where we stand. The subconscious developed male cucks out there, because they're so implosive and want to sweep everything under the rug and how non-confrontational they are, You know, they're the ones who have to look professional, because being professional, guess what, is a form of looksmaxing. It is.
We were professional maxing last night.
Yeah, we were professional maxing
Right over
last
there.
night. Yeah, right over there. Like
what, 10 guys, 12 guys wearing suits.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And then what happened?
Yeah, so we went out with a friend group yesterday. We put on our own event, and we, you know, and instead of being fed hot dogs and hamburgers, or, you know, what other people call goy slop, you know, we had like jalapeno cheddar beef sticks.
Brisket.
We had brisket. My wife's made this amazing coffee cake family recipe. Special thanks to the women of my family who created that amazing recipe. It's our favorite dessert in the family, and I got to share that with the guys. We had chocolate chip cookies. We had different kinds of cheeses, Gouda, Beecher brand flagship. It was so good. Really great food. Everyone was dressed in suits, and we gave speeches about our recent victories within political activism locally here in northern Idaho, which is absolutely fantastic. And then we just decided to come down to the marina and have some cigars, and we're just sitting there, you know, around this little fire pit that we didn't have turned on because we didn't give a shit, and we're just hanging out, you know, and like we're just sitting there having fun. Even law enforcement showed up and hung out with us and shared some of our coffee cake with them, and they loved it. They're pretty happy, and they're keeping everyone safe out here on the water, as they should, you know, and doing a great job. Actually watched them like pull over this jet ski where the dude was wearing a life vest, but the woman with him didn't have a life vest at all. And like the deputy was like, yeah, bro, like low blow, like seriously, your woman is not going to have a life vest, but you are. Like, what the fuck?
Well, he needed his safety net.
The
SD man.
The SD man safety net.
He's never without it.
Yeah, yeah. He's like that old Garfield cartoon. And like, there's these farm animals at the end of the Garfield cartoon. It's like Garfield and Friends. It's a great show, by the way. I highly recommend you watch it. It's a really great cartoon. They don't make cartoons like they used to. Instead, they have like this, you know, bullshit SpongeBob crap nowadays, where we end up having kids turning like fake and gay all the time and being all transgender as a result of absorbing all of that programming from SpongeBob. I hate SpongeBob with a flying passion. But anyway, you know, there's this one character, it's this duck, and he's always got his little, his floaties. He's wearing his floaties all the time.
He's taking a duck break.
He's taking a duck break. Oh my God, he's taking a duck break.
Should we explain what that means again?
Yeah, like
Mr. Duck Break, or Gnome Break.
Yeah, Gnome Break. It's just this guy. It's just this content creator.
Well, I was getting death threats.
Yeah.
And his way of breaking it up was like, "Come on, guys, let's just take a duck break.
Let's take a duck break. Take a break. You know, go cool off or whatever.
Chill out. Yeah.
You know, everyone. You know, it's like, no, UD men are going to stand up and be explosive about disrespect, and it's not perceived disrespect. It's like actual death threats from your own online community, and you're a local content creator, and you're literally embarrassing yourself, and then you're telling everyone to take a duck break. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, you don't even have any actual real authority, and you're nothing more than just a fucking show.
Well,
you're just
the authority
a show.
he does have, he doesn't use it, because none of those guys got banned. But then I did.
Yeah, you got banned for being raw and real. Oh, you got banned for being unprofessional.
Well, it's easier for him to...
You're banned because you weren't looksmaxing in the chat.
Well, there's only one of me and multiple of them death threatening me. So it's easier for him to side with the crowd than like, with me, even though I was in the right.
It's like
because he has no standards at all for himself or his community.
Yeah.
Even though he claims to have rules that are not enforced.
Yeah, what rules?
He had a list of rules. I'm pretty sure on there was like not death, like threatening people.
Yeah, don't threaten people. Like threatened. Hi, I'm going to react negatively to death threats, of course. Gets banned. Wow. Weak. Unbelievable. So anyway, we're down at the marina, and like all of us were wearing suits, ties, everything. Like I mean, you could say we were looking professional. Well, that's not the point. We were just having suits. And then like there was this other group of like these warrior men, the warrior archetype men and their wives, and they're all subconscious adult, these implosive men, and then like these explosive wives, and their wives literally abandon them and come over and sit with us. Like, oh, what are you guys up to? What are you guys doing? And I'm like, wow. Like, oh, is this a wedding? Is this a bachelor party? And we're like, no, we're just enjoying some fine tobacco next to the water. Like, what? They started asking us all these questions, and the women were like you could tell like they were turned on by us. Like they were hella turned on, and they were like trying to like get all this information or whatever. And like, and I just felt so bad for their husbands, and I'm like, wow, this is disgusting. This is like really actually terrible. And then they're inviting all of us, hey, you know, come, we work over here, you know, come visit us at our work. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what the hell? What is this shit? Why is this happening? Like, no, this is degenerate. This is wicked. This is horrible. Very wild experience, you know. We're just hanging out. And like, and
Well, they couldn't accept that it wasn't a wedding. They asked us that multiple times.
yeah, many times.
It's like, no, we don't need an excuse to look good.
Yeah, like, and hang out and do whatever the fuck we want at this fine marina that we just love. You know, it's like, it's excellent. It's absolutely excellent. It's one of the great things about Northern Idaho, because a lot of people don't realize that Northern Idaho is like the crown jewel of the United States of America. They just don't get it. Like seriously. But then later, so those women go back to their husbands or whatever, and then they end up starting to leave or whatever, and all of their husbands like basically came over and were talking to us, because they're like, they're feeling bad, and they're like, oh, they want to be like part of like all the male space, you know, they want to kind of like represent too. And we're all just looking at them, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you feel like losers right now, and you want to go stand over by guys like us. Like, okay, you're trying to like what, Looksmax in front of your wives?
Well, at least they weren't mate guarding.
Oh, yeah, they weren't mate guarding.
Well, they're probably a little bit more justified to in this case compared to your story from last time.
Oh, I know, right?
But there's too many of us. Like they didn't have their strength in numbers.
They did not have strength in numbers. Yeah, we had the numbers, and that's really awesome. Like, we had the numbers. Like, what's really great about mate guarding is that quiet girls, UD women, they mate guard, as it should be. They're the ones who should be mate guarding, not men. Men should never mate guard. That is just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting behavior. So yeah, like, really, like, get your wolf pack, guys. Get your wolf pack and just represent your wolf pack. Like, that's how, like, UD men, that's what UD men need to do. And then and what's interesting is that you cultivate female attention, and you literally just end up exposing all the SD women for the hoes that they are, just by just sitting around and representing. It's just hilarious to me. Like, it just shows how horrible our actual culture is. And it's embarrassing. It's completely and utterly embarrassing for these people. Like, such bullshit. So back to like this whole like female expectation of professionalism, because they're insecure about men like acting like us and showing up in suits, and then all of a sudden, you know, if men are like acting like the way we act whenever we're out in public, it's like, oh dang, I guess, you know, we're not worthy of those men. We're not good enough, and our men aren't even good enough for them either. So it's like, oh, what does that say about us? Oh, they start to realize that they're like the lowest on the totem pole for women. They realize that. They realize that they're actually the female losers, and it bothers the shit out of them. And that's why they got to project on us and tell us, hey, you need to be professional. You need to be, you know, even though we're dressed as professional. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, we need to act the part, which means being implosive and
implosive and weak, and this so-called strong, silent type. Even though that's actually like non-confrontational or whatever. It's like, whatever. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that bullshit. And this leads into like the next thing, which is like, you know, male versus female criticism versus male versus female compliments. Like, you have to know what your actual cognitive development is. You have to know. Because what happens when you don't know what your cognitive development is that you end up taking compliments or criticism from the wrong sources, and then you start feeling bad about yourself as a man, and then you allow yourself to succumb to that societal peer pressure of like acting harmonious and acting like peer pressured and whatnot. And that even happened to you, like with your so-called friend group that you had with all these SD men, and they were like turning you into this harmonious male prop that they would drag around, and apparently they're taking pity on you by having you around, and, you know, trying to be all like harmonious.
Well, they invited me out last night, by the way.
They did?
Yeah, to the goth club in Spokane.
The goth club where all the hoes are, and the disgusting women that you're not even interested in, and then they're gonna what? They're
like,
gonna
no,
try
I'd rather
to mog
smoke cigars and hang out at the marina with the actual friend group,
and then they're
not the fake friends.
Yeah, and then they mog you for not asking out the hoes. and trying to get them hoes.
Well, they
It's
thought I had approach anxiety, which I did not. It's just I don't find any of them remotely approachable.
yeah, because they're disgusting. It's just like apparently, men are not allowed to have class. That we have to be professional though. But if men have class, that's a big fucking problem. Like most people can't even it's like, yeah, I wear suits. I wear suits all the time. Like we got a guy who wears a suit 100% of the time, basically. And another one of our guys is actually starting to wear a suit 100% of the time as well, because he just cannot believe how stupidly easy it is to just form all that credibility. Because think about it this way. The subconscious developed men are all about looks and how everything looks and how everything is perceived, right? That's who these men are. That's how they act consistently. That's how they act, right? And then so because that's how they are, because they're making all their judgments based on how things look, they see a bunch of dudes like walking around dressed in suits or whatever, and they instantly give us credibility, even though we never actually earn that credibility, even though they don't even know our character, they don't even know who the fuck we are, but they're instantly giving us special treatment by default, because they know that if they don't, their wives or their girlfriends are going to give us special treatment, because they're all going to just assume that us as men are just a cut above. It's just like,
Well, they'd be
wow,
assuming
how
correctly.
shallow can you fucking be?
Even if we weren't wearing suits, that would be a correct assumption.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, even if we weren't, but we have to wear our suits to get any fucking credibility. It's just so stupid how much credibility you actually have as a man just by wearing a suit. It's ridiculous. We need to bring back the old early 1900s of everyone's wearing a suit at all times. Seriously, that's how it should be. That's really how it should be. Men should be wearing suits all the time again.
And that's not Looksmaxing.
It's not Looksmaxing at all. It's just having class.
Class maxing.
Wearing a suit, a nice, fine tailored suit, is actually the most comfortable thing that you could wear anyway. You know what I'm saying? You dress rugged because you're working, right? Or you dress like in this, loud shirt that I'm wearing, because it's sunny out, that kind of thing. But when you're out with your bros and hanging out, just wear a suit. It's comfortable. They're nice. Get them tailored. If you can't, I was so sad when Joseph A. Bank went out of business as a result of COVID, because Joseph A. Bank was my favorite place to get tailored suits from. But obviously the Men's Warehouse, thank God they survived. So go there, and they have sales all the time. Just go get multiple suits for sale. They get BOGO offers, and you should have at least, in my opinion, in your wardrobe, 4 suits. 4 suits, get them regularly dry cleaned. Wear them often, once a month dry cleaning. Dry cleaning, might only cost you, maybe $20. At least my dry cleaner is only, $20 for 4 suits. You know what I'm saying? They're amazing. So, why not? Why not do that? Come on. And it's worth the money. It's worth the money. Bullshit. Because what a suit really, when you're wearing a suit out in public, or just in general as a man, you don't look like a Looksmaxer. You look like what we'll be talking about later in the show. You look like a LOCKMAXER, because you're locked in. That's the whole point.
Locked in and not hacked off.
Yeah, locked in, not hacked off. You want to be locked in, folks. And I think the person that came up with being locked in, I think that was David Goggins, who actually came up with that. And he's unconscious developed, and he's a fantastic human being. I'm a huge fan of David Goggins. A lot of people shit on him for some stupid reason that I literally don't know. When he's the guy who could, oh, thank you for your service. He's the guy, well, you're welcome for your freedom. Yeah, David Goggins would be the guy that would be, very much credible to actually make that statement. Of course, any veteran would actually be able to make that statement. And we're pro-veteran here on this podcast.
I like to say thank you for paying taxes.
Yeah,
when I get that.
Yeah, thank you for paying taxes. Happy to pay taxes for our veterans. You better believe it. So yeah, but back to male versus female criticism and compliments. When you're getting compliments or criticism from people, you have to literally look at the source. If you're a man and you're getting complimented by an SD male, guess what that is? That's shallow. That's groupthink. That's mob mentality. You shouldn't be accepting compliments or criticism from a subconscious developed man. At all. You shouldn't. You accept it from an unconscious developed man, especially if he's unconscious developed, subconscious focused, UDSF man, the top 4% of men. That's what you should be accepting criticism and compliments from, not any other source. But if you're gonna get compliments or criticism from a woman, she better be a quiet girl. Because, what's really great about quiet girls, what's really great about UD women, is that they don't often talk. So that when they actually do talk, it's fucking serious. Like when they actually talk, you know it's serious. You know it's like it's the fucking big time. You know you probably should pay attention to what they're seeing, because unconscious developed subconscious focused men, they're known as UDJ men, unconscious developed judgment based. Because they're judgment based, they don't have as much perception because their neural pathways in their brain are so invested in decision making that they're more focused on decision making than instead of how things look. Unlike subconscious developed men who are way more invested in how things look instead of how things are. They don't have as many neural pathways for decision making, right? So the unconscious developed women are all about perception and how things look. So when they're opening their mouth, they're going to tell you, hey, you're looking bad because of this thing. You probably should pay attention to them as a UD man and gain the benefit of that compliment or that criticism. Seriously. Know your sources of compliments and criticism, because otherwise your brain is going to be gaslit by all these stupid, wicked, disgusting subconscious developed people who are all about the 80% of the subconscious developed society and this gynocentrism that they have, because, you know, all these men have their mommy issues and then they're worshiping women. It's like, you know, oh, like you know what my new term is for SD men? They're the Mother Earth men. They're the matriarchy men. They want them a matriarchy because they have their mommy issues, because they don't have their mommy to protect them anymore, because daddy wasn't around because mommy divorced daddy or cheated on daddy, and daddy took off because he was going to take on that bullshit. But then society left the children with her. When in reality, children, by the way, belong to their fathers, not their mothers. And as another point that I noticed, Pearl Davis actually posted this on like Twitter like this morning. And she's like, oh, hey, you know, women love their children selfishly, but fathers love their children selflessly. And like, ain't it the truth? Ain't it absolutely the truth? You know, like, it's so truth. It is the truth. You know, and
at least she's the e-girl that does tell the truth occasionally.
Oh yeah, yeah, for
Unlike
sure.
Cringe Panda and Rebecca,
Yeah.
who tell nothing but lies.
I keep
Especially
telling
Cringe Panda. I've never encountered one who lies as much as her.
Oh God, yeah, oh God,
It's ridiculous.
yeah. It's so terrible. And it's like, you know, Pearl Davis, it's just like, you know, I keep telling her on, maybe it's like I'm doing like the male to female version of mogging, and I'll mog her or whatever the fuck, and I'll tell her, why don't you just get married? Get married. Go get married. Go get married. But then you start to realize she can't. And that's the actual problem. And I think she's actually aware of the fact that she can't. So she's doing this other content creation stuff, you know, as a result of that. But anyway, like, here's the problem. Like, when you're taking criticism or compliments from the wrong sources, the subconscious developed sources, do you know what ends up happening? These men end up self-soothing. They end up self-soothing over and over. Like, you know, and men who self-soothe, it's just like, stop self-soothing. I actually had a subconscious developed woman who was my wife, and she was mistreating my, at the time, 3-year-old son. She was mistreating him and always talking about how he's got to self-soothe. He's got to learn how to self-soothe. And I'm like, no, he does not have to learn how to self-soothe. He needs some attention. He needs some help. You're going to give him that attention, okay? Stop expecting him to be this child who's consistently independent on his own all the time. You know, it's my job to teach my son that he needs to be worthy of attention and earn attention and be able to generate attention for himself. But it's your job to be nurturing towards him. Okay, like, what are you doing? But apparently he's got to self-soothe, right?
Well, that's the opposite.
And feel
of
abandoned in his own home by his stepmother. Unbelievable.
Lock in.
Like, literally unbelievable.
Not self-soothe.
Yeah, you guys got to lock in. Don't self-soothe. Like, because comfort culture is absolute cancer.
And women can't teach men to lock in.
They can't.
Especially their mothers.
Yeah, because it's iron sharpens iron, so does one man to another, okay? You got to be sharpened. And it's Father's Day, okay? And Father's Day is really all about iron sharpening iron. You need to sharpen one another, okay? And a woman is not going to sharpen a man. And it's so funny because subconscious developed women actually believe they can sharpen a man. It's like, oh, I'm 29 years old. I met this guy at church after I was a hoe this whole time, and then we got married and whatnot. And I think because I'm emotionally explosive and I'm kind of masculine as a woman anyway, I think I can sharpen my man and turn him more masculine. They all believe this. They all believe this. They all act this way. And then they realize they can't, which then creates development phase where they're initiating divorce at age 35 to 42. you know, doing development phase. And it's so stupid because 83% of women are going to initiate divorce in the United States anyway, according to the 2020 U.S. Census Bureau statistics. And I guarantee you it's worse. And then if they're college educated, that number jumps to 94%. And it's like unbelievable. Go look it up. Go look it up. And I wonder what the next census is going to say at 2030. Do you think that's going to be? I think that's going to be even worse. Okay, like 250 years of this country, and what has happened to this country? What has happened to this culture? It's absolute bullshit. It's completely bullshit. But hey, you know, guys, if you want to have your comfort culture, because let me tell you something, comfort destroys masculinity. Comfort destroys men. It absolutely destroys men. Okay, so let go of this comfort bullshit. Let go of it. You gentlemen, you got to understand, like, no one's going to come to save you. And if you're relying on safety nets, guess what safety nets are? Comfort, okay? If you want to have comfort as a man, have as many children as possible and hope to God one of them cares about you enough to take care of you in your old age. That's the only safety net you have, other than God Almighty and like praying to God and hoping God's going to have your back, okay? Your relationship with God, that's your only safety net. Otherwise, no one's going to come to save you. So like, get your shit together. Like, stop, and then once you realize that, once you pass the rite of passage, you have these fucking epiphanies that you should already have as men. Once you start to realize that, guess what? You got to start locking in. You got to start locking in. And that takes us to this whole thing where it's like, okay, you can be a Looksmaxer, the SD male cuck, like Clavicular, or you can be the Lockmaxer. Like, seriously, be a Lockmaxer. You know, like, because it's women's job to be Looksmaxing. They should be Looksmaxing. Man, if you're Looksmaxing, you're a fucking loser. Like, straight up. And I will never respect you. Like, because here's the thing. Like, men have this thing. Like, men in general, especially, like, when they start off as boys, what do they want? They always want to relax. They always want to relax. They feel entitled to comfort and entitled to relaxation because women in this gynocentrist environment are the ones who are raising the men. And the society is doing it as well. So that it's all about comfort. And comfort destroys masculinity. When men should be lockmaxing. Lock in.
Well, women can be comfort maxing.
Yeah, women can be comfort maxing.
Not for men, though.
Yeah. Women, they have to comfort max. Here's the thing. If your woman is not comfort maxing, guess what? She's not going to fucking orgasm. Because a woman cannot orgasm unless she's relaxed. Like a true, actual orgasm. She can't orgasm without being relaxed. But if you're Looksmaxing, guess what? She ain't going to be relaxed around you. But if you're locked in, she's going to be relaxed. Because here's the thing. Like, if you're locked in as a man, you can become part of the top 4% of men who can actually afford for his women to not have jobs. So they're comfort maxing. They should be comfort maxing. So, like, when they're not taking care of you...
That's bare minimum. Top 4% is bare minimum.
That's bare minimum.
That's average income times 2 to cover both people.
Yeah.
Which is like $100K a year.
And that's just one person. You know, versus, like, imagine a dude with multiple wives, and then none of them actually have jobs. Oh, imagine that. Like, imagine that. And they can comfort max, and they can just, you know, explore life and find themselves, you know, the female excuse, the SD female excuse, the subconscious developed woman excuse of why I need to cheat on my man, why I need to initiate divorce, so I can, like, find myself because she read Eat, Pray, Love, like a dumb bimbo. Like, wow. Like, that book should be banned, in my opinion. But like seriously, like this open hypergamy, which is so ridiculous, and they're just so entitled to it. You know, when the reality of the situation is that women were created for men, not the other way around. Okay, so what this means is that, like, you're a man, and because you're locked in, you're generative enough, you're using your king energy, you're generative enough, you're producing enough funds, you're producing enough money. Okay, and guess what? Your women don't have to have jobs, and they have what my wife calls endless vacation. She's always thanking me thank you for me being on endless vacation.
And being locked in is not a means to an end. It's the end. Like, you should get enough fulfillment from being locked in just on its own. It's not, oh, I'm going to lock in so I can get women. It's like, no, just lock in anyway.
Yeah, like I bought...
You shouldn't need, like, the reward.
Yeah. I bought her...
At the end of it. Just be locked in. That's the reward, is being locked in.
Being reward is your locked in.
Not being a schlub.
Yeah.
Lock in for its own sake.
Because then you can walk around with your bros smoking cigars and hanging out in suits and having fun and, you know, and challenging the bullshit gynocentrist fucking social order exactly, you know, just by you being you, just by you being a man. You know, while your woman is at home. Like, for example, like I bought my wife this super, super sexy 2-piece swimsuit. And what does she do with it? She's sunbathing. She's sunbathing all the time, taking in that vitamin D, increasing her health, improving her health. She's all about health and fitness, increasing and improving her fertility, to produce, better children, healthier children for me, and to add to our family, and to increase my bloodline and my legacy, because that's what locking in produces, legacy. But apparently all these subconscious developed fucks out there want to go get vasectomies just so they can spin as many plates as possible and not actually have a legacy whatsoever. Like, where the fuck is the legacy? Because a man's legacy is actually what is going to challenge the elite and challenge the powers that be, who created this subconscious developed social order, this gynocentrism that we all have with all these mommies everywhere, all these SD women, mommies, who, and then all these men are raised with like 80% of men out there are SD, and they all have mommy issues. Whereas you need to have the men who have daddy issues. The men who have daddy issues because they're complaining about their fathers being hard on them as a child, but then they don't even realize they should be thankful for it. To which on Father's Day, I have to say, to my father, thank you for basically creating an environment where I was basically raised in isolation and had to figure out things on my own. Thank God for him doing that. Because without that, I would not be able to be the man that I am today. And I owe that to him. And I'm very grateful, even though my relationship with him is absolutely terrible. And one day it'll improve. But the reality of the situation is I'm very thankful. I'm thankful to that hardship. I'm very thankful for that hardship as a child. For the majority of my life, I've been complaining about that hardship this whole time, when I realized I'm actually part of the problem when I'm making those complaints. Maybe I should just shut the fuck up and actually be grateful. And I am grateful. So I want to honor him on my podcast today, on this Father's Day podcast, honoring my father, because honestly, without that, I would not be who I am today. I would not have what I have today, and yeah, it sucked. And yeah, I have, him and I got some serious beef between each other, but still at the end of the day, I'm really grateful. I'm very grateful for him, and he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes all the time. I make mistakes too as a father, consistently. And, but the reality of the situation is that we need to actually be fucking grateful, because I'm Lockmaxing and I'm not Lookmaxing. Even though I used to kind of look max and be fake and, acting fake and gay, in my 20s, like a complete schlub, like a complete loser. And I was an absolute schlub. I was an absolute loser. I was addicted to World of Warcraft, and I was an absolute piece of shit, complete piece of shit. And then nowadays, because I'm acting this way, people are telling me, well, you're actually an even bigger piece of shit. And it's no, I'm not. But that's funny. If you all want to realize that, that's fine. You do that. But then guess what? Success is the best revenge. And I'm going to become more successful than everyone else anyway. Even more successful than my own father. And that could be something that he could actually be proud of. He actually made a statement last year talking about how, I'm talking about his son and saying how his son is extremely intelligent. And I was like, wow, thanks, Dad. Even though the context with she was saying that was actually taking hits, he was throwing shade in my direction, but he still admitted that. And I was like, wow, thanks, Dad. But I had to become really intelligent, hyper intelligent. I had to, just to be able to cope with the difficulties of my life. And I was able to pass my rites of passage as a man to be able to do that, for which I'm very grateful. It is what it is, and that's just the reality of the situation. Regardless if it's his intentions, that's the result of his actions. It is what it is, So, but yeah, men have this burden of performance. You can't let go of the burden of performance. You got to understand that you got to be locked in. You got to be locked in all the time. Like you and I, we lock in. We'll go to the coffee shop and we're just working. We're just working. We're working. We're just dudes working. There's this guy. He taught me this concept. It's called dudes working, and his name is Titus. Fantastic fellow, although he's very deceived about me. But Titus, he taught me this concept called dudes working, and he would sharpen me in this area because he'd talk about, how I was being lazy. He'd talk about how I wasn't really producing very much. And, he's king energy. He's a king specialist because he's king archetype as an NJ man. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, you're pretty awesome. You know, and he taught me about dudes working, and it taught me about, like, you know, how to run a business in this direction, and how, like, when you have your people that you're working as a team, you know, it's dudes working time. And what we would do is we'd set up, like, a voice chat, you know, on Discord or whatever, and we'd all just be working on our business. We'd all get in this voice chat, and we would start dudes working. It was just a bunch of dudes locking in, working, getting shit done. Because you got to understand, gentlemen, like, you have to have the idea, like, even the concept of retirement, is actually something that will destroy your masculinity. I don't know about you, but I'm never going to fucking retire. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep producing. I'm going to stay generative forever. I don't care if I'm 80 years old. I'm still going to be going to the gym. I'm still going to be working out. I'm still going to be banging my women. Like, it's never going to fucking stop. It's never going to stop.
Comfort is death.
Comfort is death. Literally, comfort is death. You can sleep when you're dead. You can have comfort in your coffin. Okay? Comfort is death. Because we have the male burden of performance. Okay? And that it's biblical. It's like required in Genesis chapter 3. Go read it. Like, that's what it is. Because cursed is the ground because of you. Cursed is the earth because of you. And it will produce thorns and thistles for you. And you will have to work through the ground. And through your sweat and your hard work, you will eat of it. And then you will die. Okay?
And performance is its own reward.
Performance is
Performing well, you'll feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and then the quiet girls, the UD women, they can't help but notice you. They can't help but crush on you. And it's so funny because even
that's not even the goal. The goal
it's
is
not
just
even the goal.
Performance for its own sake, and then that comes. That's
the
like
girls are a
icing on the cake.
byproduct. It's the cherry on top, you know. And then you get to have the opportunity to pop her cherry because she's a virgin, because she's a UD quiet girl. Who are the virgins, not the SD women. But it's so funny when we're sitting out here in public in our suits and the SD women come up to us and they kind of like want to get familiar with us. They kind of want to have the opportunity to start crushing on us, right, literally in front of their husbands. And it's like, which is degenerate. It's degenerate. But that's what happens. It's what naturally happens. And this is the Morgan Freeman model. We talk about the Morgan Freeman model all the time. And it's like the women will come to you. Because if you're locked in, if you're lockmaxing, the women will come to you. And it's not the point. But it's the SD men, oh, we're so lonely, we're this or that. And I'm like, yeah, you feel lonely because you had your mom giving you max attention as a child. But in your adulthood...
ripped away from them and there's a void.
Yeah.
And now they need to fill it with anything.
Yeah.
Including looksmaxing. Stupid shit.
Yeah, and then you can act like Clavicular, looking like a complete total schlub, a complete loser in Paris. And then he's like, "Oh, I want to go home." You just look at him. You look at him in the videos, and it's like, dude, you're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to men. You're a boy. Everyone knows you're a fucking boy. And literally, what Looksmaxing is boy maxing. He's boy maxing, and all of the SD men out there are boy maxing. Doesn't matter if they're 50, 60 years old. They're boy maxing, all of them, and they're looking forward to their retirement. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. See, I want my tax dollars to be supporting veterans, to be supporting the soldier ants, not these fucking schlubs who didn't fight for our country, who don't give a shit about our freedom, who don't actually put in the effort, who don't put their lives on the line. Those are the men who deserve the benefit of our tax dollars, not this bullshit. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's like, because like you know, regardless of my poor relationship with my father, you know, if he calls me and he needs me to be his retirement plan, I guarantee you, I'm going to be there. Absolutely. I'm going to be there for him. I don't give a shit how bad my relationship is with my father. If he calls me and he needs help and where it's such that I'm his retirement plan, you better fucking believe it will be there for him. No matter what. Mother as well. It does not matter because you got to stay locked in. You got to take care of your own. Because here's the thing. All these SD men, they want to have their fucking safety nets and shit. But here's the thing. As a UD man, you're locked in. You are the safety net. You are the fucking safety net. That's the point. You need to become the safety net. And that's what causes the girls to be relaxed around you. That's what causes your wives to actually be able to like, oh, I can orgasm because I'm so relaxed because you're my safety net. That's the fucking point. That is what lockmaxing actually is. None of this other bullshit, okay? And you know, yeah, you could be soul temple, you could be mind temple, you can be heart temple, you can be body temple. It doesn't matter. You can be king, warrior, magician, lover. It doesn't matter how you specialize as man, because it's your job to be able to do it all, because you have to be the complete safety net, because it is written, a righteous man will leave an inheritance for his children. But it's also a big flex as well that you, not only that, as a righteous man, as the Lockmaxer, you're the one who is there to actually be able to take care of your parents and be your parents' retirement plan, because that is your burden. It's not, women aren't to, you know, and I really struggled with my dad, like talking about how my sister was his chosen retirement plan, when in reality it's like no, like biblically, traditionally, it's the son. It's the son. But he was so embarrassed by me all the time, he didn't trust me to be able to be that safety net for him. Well, yeah, because I was such a fucking loser. I was such a loser growing up. Like, if I was in his shoes, I would be ashamed of me. I would be embarrassed of me. The problem is that, you know, his psychological archetype, they have a natural inclination of, you know, like, you fuck up one time, that's how they remember you forever. You know, so like, it takes an extreme amount of credibility for my father to give consideration that I might actually be a good safety net for him. But he might actually get desperate at one point in time later in his life where I'm his only shot. I'm his only chance. And it's my job as his son to make sure that I am available to him as a result. You see what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't even understand this. And like
well, women are more aware that there's going to be no safety net than the men.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why they're career maxing, doing all the stuff.
Career maxing.
That's
yeah.
because they know
gross.
that the men are too weak to be the safety nets, so then the women are becoming the safety nets instead of the men.
And they don't even have.
And then we wonder why all these women are becoming masculine. It's because the men have dethroned themselves of their masculinity.
Yeah.
And then the women are like feeling unsafe about that.
And they can't even
so
orgasm.
Then they pursue their careers.
Yeah.
Because they want the safety net. Well, if the men aren't going to provide it, then I'll provide it myself. And then all these men are sitting around wondering why all the women got masculine.
Yeah.
That's why. It's your fault.
And
it's like the last episode, why men deserve less. That's why.
That's why men deserve less, yeah.
Women are masculine because men became feminine first.
Yes, they did. Oh, God. And these effeminate men, like, these women can't orgasm with these effeminate men because these women can't relax because these women are the safety nets. That's what's reprehensible. That's what's so wicked about the society. It's fucking disgusting. Like, who the fuck do you think you people are? You know, yeah, I'm a Christian, yeah, and I cuss like a sailor, and I don't give a shit because, like, there's nothing in the Bible that prevents me from that says I shouldn't cuss like a sailor. Like, well, it says you shouldn't curse. That's not what that means, idiots. Where's your critical thinking? Oh, but you can't have critical thinking because you're a bunch of effeminate boy maxer children of men. You're not actually really men. Like, you got to learn how to lock in and be the safety net. Okay, here's another example of locking in. Locking in means you're not going to fit in. When you lock in as a man, you're a cut above. And people are going to tear you down because this society is a giant bucket of crabs and misery loves company. And all the SD people are so fucking miserable. They're all miserable and they're going to pull you down. The second you lock in, guess what? You're not going to fit in. But here's the thing. Here's the rub. The 4% of men out there anyway, they're the men who are capable of having people fit in with them. So if you're trying to fit in, if you're a man and you're trying to fit in, you're a fucking loser. You're an absolute loser. If you're trying to fit in, fuck you. You're a loser. Stop trying to fit in and actually be your raw and real authentic self.
Fitting in is self-soothing.
It is. It is. The only time a man would need to actually fit in, there's only one time in his life. And that would be basically at work so you don't get fired. That's it. That's literally it.
Or in court.
But
or,
even
or, when the cops pull you over.
Or in court. Yeah, that's it.
That's basically it.
That's it. Outside of that, you just be your raw, authentic, real self all everywhere, you know, and then if you are working, you're on the job, you know, make decisions so that you can be an entrepreneur so you're in there. Or then make better decisions in your life so you don't find yourself in court either. Because, like, seriously, like...
And that's the benefit of locking in.
It is.
The more you lock in, the less you'll have to fit in.
Yeah. The less you'll have to fit in.
And that's its own reward.
It's the whole point. You know, like these SD men, they constantly like want to be the lone wolves, or sometimes you find the unconscious development who's new to unconscious development. He's past his rite of passage, even later in life. And he still thinks he's got to be the lone wolf, but that's not it. A man, you are the safety net, and you have to be capable of being the lone wolf. But when you have a bunch of men who are all the safety nets and they collectively come together, a collective safety net, the soldier ants basically holding up society by, you know, like Atlas holding up the world, you know, even though like that's demonic in of its own right and actually some pagan bullshit. But the bottom line is that like we're holding society on our shoulders anyway. It's the soldier ants that are doing it. It's the veterans that are actually doing it, not these SD male cucks looking forward to their retirement and their insurance policies and for their mommies that they married, you know, these women. It's so disgusting.
You know what they're doing? Everyone knows there's going to be no retirement for millennials or even Gen Xers at this point.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to comfort max even more in their youth because they're anticipating not being able to retire later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's getting even worse.
It's even worse when they should actually be using 8 hours a day to work their stupid ass job and the other 8 hours a day to lock in and start building your fucking business and freeing yourselves from this bullshit. I've done plenty of content on the CS Joseph YouTube channel about how you can do that. Like, seriously, guys, like, study Alex Hormozy. Like, study Russell Brunson.
Extremely locked in.
He's extremely locked in.
I use his productivity tips too. He uses
Constantly.
a kitchen timer to time every task on his to-do list.
Yeah.
I stole that and I use that every day.
Brilliant.
He also puts earplugs in and soundproof earmuffs, and he just like goes into a dark room, has his kitchen timer, has his little nicotine, his caffeine, and he just locks in.
Yeah, because if you're too pussy to be visible as a man, like we were a bunch of visible men wearing our suits, having fun, and all of a sudden like pulling the attention of these subconscious developed wives.
But we didn't
these are
want,
married
by the
women.
way.
We didn't even want their attention. We really
at all.
didn't want their attention.
I was hoping they would go away.
I wanted them to go away, and thank God they did. But then their men came over, and it's just like, what the hell? What are you coming over? Like, oh, because you feel bad because you know you're not locked in like we are? Lockmaxing, folks. You got to fucking do it. You just have to do it. Because here's the thing, like, when you're the walking safety net, you're like, you know, you're the event. When you're out with your wolf pack, you're like, all of you are the event. Like, be the event. You know, you're a loser if you're trying to fit in. You know, and here's the thing, you like, if you're not willing to risk loneliness, because you have to understand, that's what the rite of passage is supposed to teach you. You're born alone, you're going to die alone. You just got to know that. It's your job to be the fucking safety net. You're going to be alone. You have to risk loneliness. And it's through risking loneliness that you actually become masculine. That's the whole point. Because guess what? When you risk loneliness like that, you become visible and then you cultivate attention. And then when you're cultivating attention, that's attractiveness. If you're able to cultivate attention, that basically means you're attractive by default. If a woman, doesn't matter if she's SD or UD, if she initiates with you, she's attracted to you. That's the reality. She's attracted to you. Even if she thinks you're dangerous, even if she thinks that you're messing up the vibe, man, guess what? She's still actually attracted to you. You have to like actually understand that. But that's not the whole point. That's not the whole point. And you're only able to cultivate attention because you spent so much time in isolation. You spent so much time alone. Okay? Like, that's what it's all about. Okay? Like, you can even like look at it from a prison perspective. I guarantee you the men that spend the most time in solitary confinement are the men in the prison who end up getting the most attention from the other men. Straight up. It's just natural. It's natural to how men work. Okay? So actually be fucking masculine. Risk loneliness, because as soon as you start lockmaxing, and you're locked in, you're going to be lonely. Because you're not out there with your friends, drinking, hoeing around, being fucking male bimbo looksmaxers losers, okay? And then racking up the body counts of loser women at the same time, potentially opening yourself up to ruining your life in the process. You're not going to fucking do that. Instead, you're going to be locking in. You're going to be saying no to friends calling you. You're going to be saying no to socialize. You're going to be saying no, potentially even to your families, okay? Because you're locked in and you have a vision and you're going somewhere because you are trying to build the safety net for the people that you fucking care about and the people that you are responsible for. Because that's what real manhood actually is. Like, holy shit. And that's why, as a result, from now on, the audience members of the Hacked Off podcast are now the LOCKMAXERs. Because you guys better be fucking lockmaxing. You better be fucking locked in. Because we're locked in, and let's lock in together. Fuck this shit. And like I said previously, if you want to actually, like, potentially, join our community and get, vetted by the LOCKMAXing men of our community to potentially join us up here in our LOCKMAXer friend group up here in Northern Idaho, we will welcome you to do so. But you got to lock in now. Start locking in now. Like, if you're not reading books, what the fuck is your problem? Go read books. Go in a fucking library. The quiet girls learn libraries anyway. Go into the fucking library and start learning, okay? Find what you're interested in. Read Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crush It, or Crushing It. Like, understand. You got to start reading. Read everything by Jordan Peterson. Read everything by Robert Greene. Read. Just read. Even if you disagree with it, read it anyway. Because there's always insight available. Like, do it. Of course, I'm projecting my magician archetype as I say that, but still.
Well, you have your reading list too, isn't it? csjoseph.life
/reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still up to date or?
Yeah, it's so out of date, but all of those books are still relevant anyway. And even then, like, we're probably going to do an octagram.me / reading page with all the updated stuff anyway. Like, we're getting there, folks. We're absolutely getting there, and that's where you should be. Like, seriously, get lockmaxing. Like if you're not lockmaxing, you're a schlub. Don't be a schlub. Don't be a fucking schlub. Actually fucking lock in. Okay.
And don't just look locked in, be locked in.
Yeah, don't lock. Yeah. Don't be that student that's looking like they're studying. Like, actually fucking do it, because and if you don't care about that, then you're not a man. You're just a fucking boy. You're just a fucking loser. And you think you're actually gonna get our respect?
There is no shortcut to the male burden performance.
No shortcuts.
And there's no shortcut to locking in.
Yeah, like study David Goggins. Like, seriously, study David Goggins. He's probably the quintessential example, the poster child example of what it is to lock in. And here's another example, Jocko Willink. He teaches this concept known as extreme ownership. Extreme ownership is a form of lockmaxing, okay? And a lot of people just shit on that guy for some fucking reason that I still do not understand, okay? Like, no, extreme ownership is an amazing principle to go with it. So yeah, like, seriously. That's all I got left for the show, unless you got anything else.
I got something.
Okay.
So here's a quote from Socrates.
Okay.
And it says, "It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable."
Oh, yeah.
And I would like to add, not just body, but mind.
Yeah.
Because the Looksmaxers will think, oh, well, yeah, I just need to get abs. It's like, no, it's about every aspect of your life, pursuing it to the maximum potential of your potential.
Exactly.
You don't want to grow old and then not have done that, and then look back on your life. It's like, wow, I was just in my comfort zone my entire life.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that thought on your deathbed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we did this last episode of episode 6, which was like looksmaxing and shitting on it. But now, like, that was the problem. But this is the solution. This episode is the solution to that. Like, come on, guys. Like, be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. Actually grow the fuck up. No one's going to save you anyway. Like, literally, you are literally part of the disposable sex. And if you're an SD male, no one's going to fucking save you. No one's going to save you.
You shouldn't whine about being the disposable sex either. Just accept it.
Just accept it. And take on your role. And there's rewards from you taking your life by the horns and actually moving forward, instead of just being this complete fucking loser everywhere you go. Stop being disgusting, stop being degenerate, and stop increasing the wickedness and the sin of the land. Like, stop doing it, okay? Like, change. You need to fucking repent of this behavior, okay? Like fucking crack open a Bible if you have to, and actually use critical thinking, and don't rely on the church's interpretation. Of course, everyone's like, oh, well, it says, lean not on your own understanding. That's fine, but don't outsource your understanding of the Bible to the fucking church. Instead, outsource your understanding of the Bible with your fucking bros. At least do that. Do that as a minimum. Do something. Do something. Figure it out. Because honestly, it's just you and God. That's all there is. No one's coming to save you. Okay, and here's the other thing, like, the men who are lockmaxing out there, like, they understand that they're going to go out of their way to be their own safety net, such that they can be safety nets for their bros, but they're not going to have the expectation of their bros to be their fucking safety net, unlike the SD men. Ugh, disgusting, absolutely disgusting. This is so disgusting. I'm very triggered by the stupidity of this Western civilization and all this bullshit. Like, because the cultures that have it a lot harder, guess what? They're lockmaxed. They really are. Compared to here, where it's all about how things look. Yeah. Do you honestly think that the claviculars of the world are actually going to win in a fucking war? Bullshit. No, thank you. No, thank you. Hey, man, I'm just going to flex my biceps, and then all of a sudden, the enemy army is just going to perish magically. It's like, let's just go for it. So, all right, folks, I think that's it for the end of Hacked Off Podcast, Episode 7. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you folks on the next episode.